All right, so I'm done applying water to both of my images. Now I'm gonna choose one of my images that's gonna stay flat, and then one of my images that's gonna get turned into a lantern. So I'm gonna select this one that's gonna get turned into a lantern. And the next step then is to score. There are 6 lines that you have to score on your lantern paper. Now I have the guide written on here for you so you can see there's 1 from here to here, 2, 3, 4 that are gonna go vertically over top of your design, and then 5, 6, and I have that written here for you guys. So you really just have to follow those things. We're gonna score them as a full sheet, and then you're gonna cut anywhere that there's a dotted line around the edge. You're gonna cut on all of those dotted lines, and then I'll show you how to make the lantern shape. Okay, so to score, you need a mat like this. I have a few at the front of the classroom. You guys are gonna have to share, but you're probably not all gonna be doing this at the exact same time, so that's okay. You are definitely gonna need a ruler because if your score lines aren't straight, then your lantern will be folded like all wonky and it won't look good. And you also need something that has like a straight edge on it. I'm gonna give you guys, these are like scratch art tools. I have a few of these up front. I might have like a needle tool too that you can use to scratch. Now the thing with scoring, it's basically scratching the surface of the piece of paper so that you can create a perfect fold, okay? It's gonna be a really nice straight fold, because if you've ever taken a piece of paper and just folded it before, sometimes the fold will get all like wrinkly and crooked, okay? And we wanna make these lanterns really nice, so we have to score these lines to make the folds perfect, okay? The thing that you wanna keep in mind though with this tool is that if you score too hard, if you scratch the surface of the paper too hard, you could slice right through it. You do not want to slice your lantern paper in half. It has happened before, so if it does happen to you, just let me know. And you know, I have a solution. I have tape. We'll just tape it from the back. But really try to pay attention to that. You do not want to slice your paper if you have any say in the matter. All right, so I'm gonna start with these 4 down here. So I'm gonna go across from this arrow up to this arrow. So I'm gonna very carefully line up my ruler on that line. And then once I know that it is perfectly aligned, and only then am I gonna take this tool and I'm gonna not really put too much pressure behind it. I'm just gonna kind of drag it across the surface there. And then I can even, if I flip it over on the back, I can see the line there. You may or may not be able to see that on the video, but then if I go and try to fold that edge right there, it makes like this perfect fold, okay? The edge is like folded completely straight. That's exactly what we want. So for the next 3, going along here, we're gonna go from this arrow to this arrow. So you're lining those 2 sides up. So I did that one, now I'm gonna go 2, 3, 4, and then we have 2 more besides that. All right, so I can just make sure that you know, I scored it well enough by just folding the paper even before I cut it out. Okay, and so notice how perfect those folds are, right? So it's all coming together. Now I still have 2 more lines to score. So there's 6 total lines you have to score. I did 1, 2, 3, 4 vertical going across the image there. I have 1 up top here that's gonna go on this solid line, and then I have 1 down below here. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Set my paper down, set my ruler down. I'm gonna put not really any pressure behind this tool. I do not want to slice the paper. Scoring basically means scratching the surface. Now I'm gonna fold on both of those scored edges. These, you can see there are tabs at the top here. That's what the top and bottom of your lantern is gonna be attached on with. Okay, so double check. Do you have 6 scored edges, 6 scored lines? So I did the top, the bottom, and then 4 vertical scores across it. Now I can go ahead and cut out my image. Do not, on your lantern, do not cut off these tabs. Cut on the dotted line. We need these white tabs. I can't stress that enough. There is also a big long tab right here. Do not cut it off. There are 4 tabs on the top. There are 4 tabs on the bottom. There's a big tab, big long one on the side. We're gonna keep all of those intact. All right, boys and girls, so I really want you to take a note of how carefully I cut out the edges here. So this little corner gets cut off, all of these little triangles up top here get cut off, and same thing at the bottom. If you get too crazy with your cutting and you're not really taking your time and paying attention, you cut down into your image, you will have a hole on the side of your lantern. So really take your time doing that. You know, you don't want to mess up this. You guys spent so much time creating these images, so really take your time doing the cutting portion of it. I try to make it as simple as possible to follow along with what to do on the edges there. So the next step, I'm gonna help you guys out with the gluing. I really like these to stay together well, so I'm gonna help you guys hot glue these. But before I do that, I'll be kind of calling you over to the hot glue gun. But before you do that, you have to make sure that your tabs are folded. So these 4 at the top are folded down, this big long one on the side is folded down, and then the 4 on the bottom are all folded down, okay? And then once you do that, you can even kind of get a sense for what this is gonna look like. The big long tab gets tucked inside. I'll be putting glue on there. Okay, so before you bring it over to me to be glued, you want to make sure that you have it completely in that lantern shape, so that ensures that you have folded all the score lines, so it's like ready to go for me. I will also be helping you attach a bottom. The bottom is going to be solid, so make sure you let me know which one to put that on if it's not crystal clear. And then the top is going to have a little opening in it. After that, we have 2 really simple things to do. I will be showing you guys how to attach a wire in the top so that we can hang them. And then finally, you have to have your name on the bottom of this guy. First name, last name, and room number has to be on there crystal clear, or you won't get a grade for your project. All right, so I have my lantern all glued together. I want to make sure that I get my name on it. I'm going to write it on the bottom. Maybe you did this before I glued it for you. If not, make sure you get first name, last name, room number on there. It does show up in pencil, by the way. To attach the wire, to be able to hang this, you're going to take a hole puncher. I have just a few of them. They're really mini hole punchers, so they'll make a really tiny hole rather than like the regular sized hole puncher. We want just the really small one because we are going to be just using a wire to attach to the top of this to be able to hang it. So I'm going to put this on the inside. You're only going to poke 2 holes, and you want to make sure not to go right on the edge or the wire will rip right through. So be careful. You don't want to ruin your lantern at this point. So I'm going to go just a little bit of distance in from the edge of that lantern. I can't really go too far because, you know, I start to run into the inside of the lantern. So I'm going to leave a little bit of space. I'm going to try to get it in the center. Poke my first hole there. Okay, so there's one. And then I'm going to go directly opposite for the other hole on the other side. So again, inside. Leave a space from the edge. Poke that other hole. All right, so here are the 2 holes. All right, nothing on the outside. I just went through the inside on both. And then I'm gonna take this wire. I'm gonna just put the one end down into the hole onto the inside of the lantern. I'm gonna bring it back up, just a little bit of it. So maybe about that much. Again, I don't want to be too rough with this area right here because I don't want it to rip through the side of the poster board. Boys and girls, that could totally happen. And I may have a solution for that, but let's just try to avoid that. So here I'm just gonna take these two pieces, I'm gonna hold my fingers at the bottom, and then I'm gonna twist the top. Okay, so this is how it looks so far. I just wrapped it, twisted it. So now I'm gonna take the other end. I'm gonna put the other end into the hole going into the lantern a little bit. I'm gonna loop it up. Right, I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. I'm gonna twist this end around here. And then once I have that on there like that, you want to be pretty gentle with the wire. If you bend it back and forth a bunch of times, it will break, and I do not have extras, so please be gentle. You will not get another one if you break it. And then there it is. It now can be hung up. It's kind of awkward in the video, but it can be hung up. So I have completed the project. I have one lantern. I have one flat artwork that I just cut out and did not score it, kept it completely flat. So now I am officially completed with the Hokusai project. That is for taking photos for Artsonia if you haven't done that yet, plus grading and turning in your projects, okay?